Omumasawa originates from a larger Luhya community which belongs to Bantu language group. The Bukusu people, also referred to as Bamasaba, are one of the Bantu language group occupying a large part of Bungoma County and Trans Nzoia. The word Bantu literally means people. The Bukusu are referred to as Lirango Lienjofu, loosely translating to a robust community who are good at assimilating others as well as enduring harsh conditions. But just where did they originate from? Omar Enjofu and Situma Wamanyasi are a few elders who are the custodians of the Bukusu traditions, defying cultural infiltration to preserve the Bukusu culture. They take us through their migration journey. Omukuka Situma Wamanyasi, who takes pride in referring to himself as Ehutu ya Mulukongo, translating to a terrestrial tortoise, gives us a detailed genealogy of the Bukusu. After leaving Ebungonelo where God created us, we came to Esibakala, and there was a man named Mundu. Mundu gave birth to Wanahatandi, who gave birth to a man named Samba. Wanahatandi lived during the Stone Age period, using stones to make tools and weapons. Be it skinning animals, be it cutting down trees, he used stones. It is in this period that he begot his son Samba Sambaranengwini. At that time there lived Oga, who devoured mankind, sometimes taking them into captivity. Samba's parents fell victims, leaving him alone. It was discovered that the Ogas, that's the Maasai people, only feasted on men, keeping women as captives. One day, Samba, a vagabond, saw smoke from a distance. He wondered to himself, how come there is smoke there? What might be going on? He cautiously drew closer, and on reaching, he found captured women. After exchanging pleasantries, the astonished women asked him, "Where do you come from?" "I am from afar." "And who are you?" "I am Samba Sambaranengwini." "And why did you risk your life to come here? The ogres will eat you up." The women then hid him in a cave. They then asked amongst themselves, "What do we do with this person?" They said to him, "We can see something dangling between your legs. What do you do with it?" He said, "It brings forth people. Can we put it into use? Oh, it's nice, so wow." So after tasting it, they circumcised him because he had a foreskin on him. But before this, they muttered to themselves, "Now, if we wound him, he will not be able to perform the task." But they went ahead, the women. Remember, they were women. They took a stone and killed him. Manyasi says Samba lived in seclusion, and once he was healed, he carried on with the task. The women were so happy with the changed tool because it was much efficient. Samba made them all pregnant. Out of the escapades came Mwambu. Mwambu is the one who opened up the world, awakening his people to new possibilities, as his name goes. He grew up during the Iron Age, when fire had been invented. With fire, blacksmithing began. Fire opened up the world because many discoveries were made. Pot making, blacksmithing, name them. This is because in your language you say coincidentally. When they lit up fire to burn something, they discovered that the burnt soil was tough and could make a tool even stronger than stone made. They started making weapons, farm tools, etc. Because the most treasured wealth for Bukusu is cattle, Mwambu and his brothers would graze the cattle in distant grazing fields. There was a time when cattle rustlers from the neighboring Maasai community, referred to in the Bukusu mythology as Ogas, took away the cattle which Mwambu and his brothers were grazing. Mwambu pursued the cattle. When he reached the homestead in which the cattle had been driven, he impersonated as a herdsboy. The Ogas took him and entrusted him with all their cattle. After some days, he hatched a plan to make away with all the cattle in revenge. In the Oga's backyard was a small girl who furnished Mwambu with their secrets and plans, as well as directing him on how he could easily run away. When the day came, Mwambu's plans materialized, making away with the cattle and the girl. He made the girl his wife when they finally got home. Because the Maasai realized how Mwambu loved cows, they had named him Engishu, meaning cow. Therefore, he became the father of Bagisu, referred to by outsiders, among them the Maasai, as Bagishu. Mwambu liked the name. In fact, when his people listened to him as he narrated his conquering in the land of the Maasai, he told them he had been nicknamed Engishu. Oh, so you are Engishu. This in Bantu is Mukisu. The reason why we believe our invaders were the Maasai in those days is because we have a neighboring county today called Uasin Gishu, which was originally inhabited by the Maasai. Omumasaba and Omukisu are one thing, only referred to differently because they live in different territories. However, initially there was no territorial boundaries, only created in around 1894 by the white man who made Kenyan part a colony, whereas Uganda a protectorate. According to Omukuka Situma wa Manyasi, Sikulu Sia Masaba was named after Masaba, the father to Mukisu and Bukusu. He was called so because Masaba means the one who reveres talents and gifts. The mountain at some point serves as a boundary between the initially one people. Omar says the Bukusu were so intelligent to be ruled over. The intelligence came from God himself, who instructed them to go round the mountain for 4 times because it belonged to their father. Unfortunately, the white man renamed it Mount Elgon. He calls on the Bukusu and Mukisu to reunite. The Bukusu traditionally lived in lukoba or homesteads. Their unity and love for one another is attributed to their ability to live in one homestead without feuding. Some historians, however, argue that the Bukusu people originated from Egypt. Is that correct? The argument is illogical because when the Israelites came to Egypt, an Egyptian was already there. So, if the Egyptian is still in Egypt today as he is it not possible that we also were around here? Where then did we come from before going to Egypt, and where were we headed to? No logic at all. After they had settled, there is a time when division came upon the house of Masaba. This is as Omukuka Situma narrates. Let me tell you how the division happened. We find that a man named Maina, while at Sikulu Sia Bukusu, this is in Uganda presently, While there lived another elder, Sanjamolu, of the Bahabuya clan, both living in Bahabuya Mountain, present-day Tororo and Buyemba. Sanjamolu was an elder with his people. So was Maina. Then there came great famine. At this time, Maina, together with his wife and son, used to visit Sanjamolu in search of millet. However, the son would go at his father's back while at Sanjamolu's place and make love to his mother, something Maina discovered. Dejected, he summoned his people and sought advice. People advised him to perform a ritual known as Siluri. But Maina was not for it. Making peace with my own son over this embarrassing issue. It is wrong. Again, in his prophecy, he had foreseen some impending danger. The danger was the invasion by the Teso community, so he decided he would not subject himself to the danger. So he left and disappeared in the mountain. Maina's son, who ate the forbidden fruit with his mother, was called Namunguba. He was Maina's eldest son. So when the foreseen invasion finally came, Maina's young son, called Wahulunya, led their people to Sanjamolu's place because they were familiar visitors there. However, the enemy was in hot pursuit, so they ran away again, this time taking refuge in Mubuai, present-day Amukura. There, Wahulunya and his people came in contact with Banyala elder called Omunyala Mumusia, thus the name Busia in the present day. It is important to note that there is a difference between Mbai and Mubuai. Silikwa Mbai is in Uganda. People fail to note that. They lived there for so many years. Again, the Teso warriors followed them and defeated them there. So in this Mubuai is where Muyala Wamango is located today. Wahulunya led his people while there and gave birth to a man called Namunyulubunda, who gave birth to a man called Musamali. Musamali gave birth to Wandagwa, who feuded with Namachanja over leadership, and Mumia craftily presented Namachanja as a leader to a white man. So I wanted to make you understand that when the colonialists came at around 1895 and started the partitioning of Africa, that is when the division was born in the house of Masaba. The Bukusu are known to be tough, as the name Lirango Lienjofu suggests. When they settled here, they say there were no people around, but only wild animals dangerously hovering, in particular the leopard. When the colonialists came in 1895, in the year 1894-1895, they began sharing, as in the partition of Africa came in, introducing the boundary in the house of Masaba. So you can see when Wahulunya crosses from Ebukobelo, he comes here in Kenya. When the Teso warrior invaded them again while at Ebukobelo, some Masaba people moved upwards to the mountain. Clans, the likes of Batilu, Bawulo, and others like Babangoho, Batuta, moved up towards the mountain. Thus, those who fled downwards are the Bamasaba, located in Kenya today, who are the Bukusu. Those who fled upwards are the Bamasaba in Uganda. Therefore, all of us are Bamasaba, nothing like Mukisu. Mukisu and Masaba is the same thing. I told you that Mwambu is Masaba. Mwambu is the father of spiritual gifts and talents, and it is the talents and gifts that make us be called Masaba, people with spiritual talents and gifts. The word Masaba is not just a name of a clan. No, it is who you are, because we have valued the talents as beneficial. And I told you, a homestead can't be called a homestead if it has no people with spiritual talents. In fact, you have seen, a rainmaker is significant, a diviner is significant, a soothsayer, everyone. That is why the name Masaba is one who reveres spiritual gifts and has valued the gifts. because without them in your empire, you are not a leader. And that is the name Masaba, who is Mwambu. Mukisu in our language is the livestock keeper, a person who can keep wealth. In Maasai, Ingishu. So the name Mukisu and Mwambu is one thing, and that is livestock keeper. I have told you Omubulo is here. Isn't Bubulo in Uganda? You said you are who? Omukiabi. Isn't Bukiabi across? So can we really say Omukiabi in Uganda is Amukisu and the one in Kenya is Bukusu? Are we really on point?